everyone, and welcome back to Lauren's Take. Okay, you know what time it is. It's Wednesday, meaning the 4th episode of Percy Jackson and the Olympians came out last night at 9 my time. We're just going to jump right in. We got a lot to talk about, but I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm actually having a sore throat at the moment, so me talking for long periods of time is just going to exacerbate it. So we're going to try to get it done. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already, and let's get into it. Alright, so quick synopsis of last night's episode. So this episode is kind of like the whole shenanigans of them being on the train, going to St. Louis and meeting Echidna and the Chimera. And I really love this episode because it was kind of like, even though a lot happened, it was kind of a chill episode because it was only like really like one big bad, or well, technically two, because Echidna and a Chimera, but they're connected, so that's why I'm connecting them. And you know, this is also the time where we finally get Annabeth kind of telling Percy a little bit more about where she comes from, her story and whatnot. And it was just, again, more dynamics between Percy and Annabeth, so I really enjoyed this. This also entailed Percy jumping from the arch, you know, the iconic chapter title, I Plunged to My Death. So, you know, this was so exciting because it was just really this whole scene, and the fact that they took so much time and energy with this particular moment in the novel, I was really, really excited. But let's kind of get into some of my really favorite parts of the episode and what I thought of the episode overall. Y'all, how is it that every single episode gets better and better and better? Like, after I finished this episode, my sister and I, Amber and I were literally screaming. I don't think I had ever been more mad that we have to wait every week for these shows. For this show. It was painful because we ended on a cliffhanger and because things were going so well. This episode was too short. That is my biggest problem with this episode. It was too short. It was only 33 minutes and I'm like, ugh. I wanted more. I wanted more because they were doing so many great things. It's not because I was annoyed that it was too short. It was too short because I just wanted more. Because I'm like, y'all are doing great. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Can we also talk about how this episode, though, I don't know what is on my shirt. Okay. How this episode legit was a Percabeth episode and none of us were expecting it. Like, I was not expecting, like, maybe like a scene, maybe two, but not 3 or 4. Like, what? I was not expecting this. I was so excited, but I was not expecting it. Now, don't like kind of look at that as like I have a problem with that. No, of course I loved it. I think I said it in one of my I really uploaded 3 times last week. Wow. But what I said in one of those video uploads, I don't know, I've filmed so many, I can't remember. I said Percabeth is like my number 1 couple. So of course I was here for all the tea. But I was just so in awe of Leah and Walker's ability to create such a strong chemistry on screen, like, or demonstrate, portray all the words, how they're able to do it and they're that young. I think it is insane. We literally started off the episode with Percabeth. Come on, y'all. Like, you can't get any better than that. It's kind of like when you know, like, when you get in Heroes of Olympus and you know it's a Percy chapter coming up, you're like, yes. Or you know it's an Annabeth chapter coming up, you're like, yes. Because you want the Percabeth, because you know it's going to come up, or you're just excited that it's Percy, or you're just excited that it's Annabeth. That's me. But anyway, y'all, and I love this whole conversation between Annabeth and Percy about Annabeth kind of telling her story. I thought it was so well done. Leah did a phenomenal job. Again, I will never come for this girl because this girl is Annabeth. She is eating the role up every single freaking episode. You know, after I watched this episode, I was kind of coming to this conclusion when Amber and I watched the 3rd episode again the other day. But after last night's episode, these kids need an Emmy nomination. I think they all deserve an Emmy nomination. Leah, Walker, and Arian, like all 3. They're just so freaking good at their job. And they're so good at portraying these characters, giving them so much more than what we got in the novels. Like, we love them in the novels, but they're giving them such, like, I don't know, like, it's just great to be able to finally see it done well. I think that's why I'm so excited. I'm going all over the place, but, like, coming back, love the conversation between Percy and Annabeth about Annabeth's past. I thought that was just so well done, and I just loved how it started and how Percy is like, hey, you awake? He's like, hey, are you asleep? And she was like, yes. And then people have been paying attention to it on Twitter, and they're like, oh my gosh, got a little smile. He was like, it's like he's so excited to talk to her, and I love it. That was really sweet. And then it also, like, he was like, shit, would it be dumb if I asked another question? And Annabeth was like, it's like you want me to make fun of you. Like, oh my gosh, their banter is perfection. It's so good. And the thing is, Percy knows what she's going to do, and I love it. I love how they just have this dynamic that is just working so well. I don't know how y'all feel about it. Please tell me in the comments. But I don't think anyone can look at it as anything as just perfection, okay? I just love Grover being hangry. That was adorable. Oh my gosh. Arian is just so freaking adorable. Just as Grover, like, he's so perfect for the role, but he gives him just this other aspect of just, like, you need to protect him. Like, oh, he's adorable. I just love it. And then Echidna. Let's talk Echidna. Like, Echidna, the actress who played Echidna, she was eating the role up. And, you know, she was giving Karen, but then also trying to act like she wasn't Karen, and I was kind of there for it. I'm kidding. Did I really call her a Karen? I did call her a Karen. She was definitely a Karen. But I think it worked. And I kind of like this portrayal because, yeah, I mean, I think if you think about it in the novel, she kind of was a Karen then, you know, but of course the term wasn't there yet. But I think that was very well done. I really liked all that she did as a kid, and I think that was perfect. And how she was really trying to, like, spin it on them. And she was like, yeah, y'all are kind of problematic. And I just, again, when they try to be coming for our girl Annabeth, and how Annabeth's like, you know, when they were talking to the police, and she was like, are we under arrest? And then he was like, I bet you need to stop taking that tone with me, Miss Ma'am. And I'm kidding, he didn't say Miss Ma'am, but she was like, are we under arrest? And I was just like, yes, girl, yes. Like, ooh, she's just, I just love it. I just love it. I love what Leah is doing. She is just elevating Annabeth to here. Like, Annabeth was already here, but then she's elevating her to, like, past that. I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. And then let's talk about them at the Arch. I'm all over the place, but we're getting through this, right? Talk about them at the Arch. They were doing such great things there. I really vibed with it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was really cute. I thought, you know, I think that little scene between Annabeth and Grover in which they were kind of talking about or really, you know, acknowledging how, you know, the building of the Arch kind of causes issues in nature, you know? And again, kind of the problematic nature of America and colonizing everywhere they can, you know? Even on in land here, taking it away from indigenous Americans. Like, yeah, you know. I think it was really, you know, good to kind of have that kind of dialogue between the three of them, because I think they were really talking about that, but also just how so many animals are losing their homes because of commercialization, because of industrialization, all of those things. I think it's really great because that is actually really good that they're adding that in, because when I was rereading Percy Jackson last year and rereading Heroes of Olympus, there is like this other like undertone of just like, we really need to protect our environment. We need to stop building so much and taking away from the animals who live here, the organisms that live all around the world, and we are destroying their land. We are making it literally inhabitable for them to live in. We're making it inhabitable for ourselves to live in. And I think, you know, being able to have those undertoned conversations within the show already, that shows they're really paying attention to the novel, because if you're really reading it, those undertones are very prevalent. So I loved how they had that scene in that conversation, and how Grover is really kind of talking about that. I think it was just really well done. And then another Percy Beth moment, you know, kind of, and again, I was just talking to my friend about this, is just how Percy, he's so tired of the gods, right? And then we also have another moment with Annabeth, but I just want to talk about this scene real quick. But the fact that Percy is just so done with Poseidon, like, he could care less about that god, like, completely. And the fact that this is one of my favorite lines, going to be one of my favorite lines in the show, but a favorite lines in this episode specifically is when he was like, to Annabeth, he was like, "You've done more for me in the past few days than my dad has ever done for me in my entire lifetime." And when he said that, and then he was going to say something else, and then she was like, "Oh, careful now. It seems like you're about to call me your friend." And I was just like, "Yo, you don't do this to me." Amber and I were screaming. I was just like, not the little, just like, "Oh, okay. It looks like you like me as your friend. Okay." And I loved how Annabeth was teasing him about it, and he was just like, whatever. But then almost passed out, and then, she's like, Percy, she's like, "If you have an idea." And then they like, "Let's put water on him, let's go." I thought that was so adorable, trying to get the poison out of him. And how Walker was doing so well with the poison aspect, like, that was just, these kids are such phenomenal freaking actors. Like, the fact they are this young and giving us this much, like, child, the fact that they're this talented and they're doing such a phenomenal job. But anyway, love that Percabeth moment. There were just little things between them the whole time, but yeah, and then they go up in the arch. I mean, that whole scene was it was different for the show, and I kind of liked it. I think it worked that it started on the train, not that it started in the arch. It kind of makes a little bit more sense, because then they're running away from it, and then they added more Annabeth and Grover into the conversation, into the situation, and them running. But then this also leads me back to Annabeth and how she... or how Athena, the goddess Athena, decided to be real petty and decided to say, "Oh, because you're impertinent, I ain't going to help you. You may have had this little plan to get to the top and hope that I would help you, but I'm not helping you because you decided to be impertinent." And how Percy was just like, crap. Like, he was like, I didn't want to get her in trouble. Like, that was all me. And then she was like, "Well, I didn't stop you." So, and I was like, but that's so unfair, because she did try to stop him. She was talking to him like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do this. It would be seen as impertinent." And then he was like, "I am impertinent." But then that whole thing, like, and he felt so bad about it. And again, it's just, it's too good. It's too good. And then she was like, crap, I'm gonna have to fight the Chimera. I did this to us. Like, no, it's my fault. You all, like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. And, this is kind of like her prideful moment of, like, not her acknowledging that, it was Percy who technically did it, but she was like, no, I still didn't do it. Like, she will put it all on herself. Like, this is her. But then Percy, being loyal, it's been a flaw. Not crying about it, but it's been a flaw. He was like, nope, we're going to switch this real quick. I couldn't catch on to what he said to her, like, right before he closed the door, but then Grover and Annabeth were like, "Percy, no, Percy, you need help, you need us now." And then he was like, "I was never going to make it to Los Angeles." He was like, "But you can." And we know who he was talking to. He was talking directly to our girl, Annabeth, and I was so here for it. Again, y'all, I just, and then the fight scene between Percy and the Chimera was just so well done. The CGI animation on the Chimera is top notch. I loved it so much. It was beautiful to look at, even though, like, I'm trying to be scared, but, like, it was also really beautiful. Like, it was like, ooh, this is so pretty, like, ooh. But yeah, I really loved that was just, like, they did some really good work on the Chimera. And they did really good work on the Minotaur too. But specifically, I just really loved the detail that they had on the Chimera. And then Percy fighting it, and whatnot, not really winning because of the poison in his veins at that point. But then he plunged to his death. I think what was interesting about this is that, isn't it in the novel, he actively jumps? It's not like he's about to fall. I think it kind of makes more sense. I mean, it's still correlated. I'm not really mad at the change. I think it was just an interesting, subtle edit. So let me know down in the comments what you all thought about that too. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. But then he falls and then he goes into the water. I was so scared they were going to end it on him falling. I was like, crap, we already know what happens. Like, he'll be fine. And then him being in the water, and then again having this conversation of, is Poseidon good, is Poseidon not good, and Poseidon sending Nereid, we don't know that yet, but Nereid to, wait, I can't remember if they say her name or not, but that's who it is, sending him to help Percy in that moment so he'll be okay. And then she was like, just breathe. And she said it twice, but the second time he was like, okay, and then he breathed. And that's something I'm pretty sure was not in the movies. Because of course it wasn't in the movies. Anyway, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is so huge. This is such a humongous moment, or just like aspect of the novels, that Percy can move, he can move, breathe, walk, talk, everything underwater. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. That's why we get that iconic underwater kiss at the end of the series. I don't know. But anyway, it's just really cute and I loved it. It was just really, really adorable. That moment, but it was powerful. That moment was huge, but then it ended and that's when I was yelling at Disney Plus. But yeah. Right, so my final rating of this episode, 10 out of 10. Again, I think we're at 9.7 for the show in total. Again, it's just that first episode that's kind of messing everything up, but I don't really care because this show is just so phenomenal. Actually, it may be 9.85. I'm just going to say 9.85 out of 10 at this point. By the end, it's going to be 9.9999 out of 10 because of that first episode. But I don't know. I may end up changing the first episode because it was still good enough that it was amazing. But anyway, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was so cute. I thought, the fact that we got that much Percabeth, I am so excited for the next episode. A God buys us hamburgers because y'all know the Tunnel of Love scene is coming up. And I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to be really great. But I think what's interesting is they're saying, the Tunnel of Love scene is kind of like the scene in the truck with the animals and the zebra. Like, I don't know, because the 6th episode still says, it's still called A Zebra Takes Us to Vegas. So I don't know if we're going to have that scene or are we putting it in the Tunnel of Love scene? I really don't know. So yeah. I'm excited to see. Still didn't get our seaweed brain and wise girl mention. Hopefully it comes, but they made up for it with all the Percabeth, so I'm not crying. But I'm really excited for next episode. Stay tuned for my next review because I would enjoy doing them. But I will say I unfortunately have to go back to school next week. But I will still make sure to make this video because I'll have a lot of downtime. So yeah. Alright everyone, that concludes this video. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't give it a thumbs down. That's just rude. Also subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I shall see you in the next one. Happy New Year. Hope everyone's New Year was happy and festive. I'm hoping everyone has a year full of joy, full of positivity, full of just happiness. I'm calling that for us. Good health. Praying for everyone now. Hope everyone's doing okay, hanging in there. But until next time, I shall see you in the next one. All right, see you later. Bye.